So what all did we get into this? Well, how's it going, kids? Welcome to another edition of our Friday Live at 3 in the studio. And boy, we've been busy around here. So first up, well, y'all have been blowing up our Facebook and Instagram accounts asking for bonus codes. And what could they possibly be for? Well, you need to go to the website and check out our giveaway for the end of the year. We finally finished up that 2026 Polaris North Star, and that's already decked out with heating and air and doors and the whole 9 yards. And then I added a whole bunch of other stuff to it just to make it more, well, more toward the hunting environment. But you can use it wherever you want. Light bars, winches, gun scabbards, sound systems. I mean, you name it. I pretty much packed it on the thing and probably added 400 pounds of weight, easy. But it is up and on the website. And today you can start out with our first bonus code. It's pretty simple. John T, Johnt, and that's going to give you 500 additional points. Now listen, you can enter every day to win all through December until the 30th. And at that point, we're going to draw the name. Then whoever that is, you need to check your email because that's how we're going to get in touch with you. So check your spam boxes. So hopefully it doesn't drag on too long for us to go ahead and award the winner and get it shipped out to you. And who knows, if you're close enough, maybe I'll bring it to you, or you can come here and go on a tour and pick up your machine. Now, what do I have going on in the studio? I didn't do a lot of work. I had a visitor, but we'll talk about him in a little bit. But I do want to show you my long-term project for 2026. Now, this is going to be something really different. So let's take a look at it real quick. All right, guys. Two machines sitting in front of you. 2008 Honda TRX 700XX. And behind it, a 1986 FL400 Pilot. Now, what do I have planned for this? For better, for worse, I'm going to take the drivetrain out of this and transfer it into that machine behind me after I hop it up, give it a little bit more punch. Now, the people that I've told about this so far, they're like, why did you pick the 700XX? Well, two reasons. One, I wanted to keep it within the Honda family. Second, this one has an independent rear suspension. So it's driving a chain straight into if you want to call it, a rear differential, and then going out to the wheels. And that is the same setup, although none of the measurements are the same in between the two machines, but it's the same basic design as the Honda Pilot. And believe it or not, there's just enough room once I get these two closer together to transfer it into the Pilot. Now, am I crazy for doing this? Well, probably. Is it going to upset some purists? Definitely. But I'm going to do it anyway. Think it's a good idea? Well, I'm not going to be stopped, but I'll be curious to hear what you think about it in the comments below. All right, as to my visitor, he has already headed back home, and he had a long drive ahead of him. Otherwise, he would have been sitting one seat over next to me, and we would have done this together. But he had like 1,000 miles. So before he left yesterday, we recorded just a quick run through of everything that we were up to while he was here. So if Nathan will cue that up, we'll let it play and then jump into your questions. So let it roll, Nathan. So what all did we get into this week? Well, we had Mr. Michael Sabo come spend a few days with us. The primary purpose was to pick up not one, not two, but 4 different units for a couple of different projects that he's gonna cook up on his channel. And by the way, if you haven't already seen his channel, go check it out, like and subscribe. Really great presenter with some fun content. Go check him out.
Thanks, John.
So what did you think of our little studio over here?
It was, I wasn't expecting it to be what it is. It's, a lot of times when you go to see something, it doesn't quite live up to what it looks like on camera. Mm-hmm. It's usually smaller and it just looks different. And if anything, it was actually the opposite. It's pretty big in here. I know you said it was 30 by 80?
Somewhere in that neighborhood,
It's
yes.
pretty big. Like for doing power sports projects, you got more than enough. And I was really impressed with the camera equipment and just like the lighting and everything and how you guys have it set up. It's super professional.
How about on the other side of the wall?
On the other side of the wall, you know, they showed me the distribution center and it's pretty overwhelming. I used to be a forklift tech, so when we would go service these forklifts, you know, I got to see a lot of warehouses, and I saw some pretty impressive ones. And there was some stuff here that I've never seen at the other ones, some state-of-the-art technology that I don't know if I can really get into that on here, but you guys really would have to see it to believe how sophisticated it is. And there's a reason that they can get orders out. Didn't you say in 2 minutes and 30 seconds is like the fastest?
The fastest from the time the order came in to when it went on one of the trucks, 2 minutes, 40 seconds.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. So when you hit enter on placing your order, 2 minutes and 40 seconds later, it was on an 18-wheeler.
Yes.
That's hard to believe.
Well, but we can prove it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, after seeing the operation, you can see why they can do it that quick. And it's pretty spectacular. So I'm very thankful and I feel very privileged to be able to be here. And
well, we enjoyed having you here and looking forward to doing some more projects with you.
Yeah, John also made a really good steak last night. You know, I got the full service. Like it was really awesome being here and they treated me really nice and just really happy to be, you know, affiliated with you guys. You guys are pretty awesome.
Well, it's a good partnership. We love the fact that you're part of our team as well. Even though you're independent, we consider you a Partzilla guy.
All right.
All right, kids. Well, I'm going to let him drive back. He's got 1,000 miles and like 18 hours to get back home, so he's going to head out on us. Otherwise, he would have been with us for the live. So we decided to do this real quick, just instead. So, dude, appreciate everything.
Thanks, John.
We'll see you out there.
And thanks, Tracy, behind the camera.
All right, guys. Now let's get to it. it was a fun few days having Mr. Sabo here with us. And once again, go check out his channel. He's easy to find on YouTube or on Instagram. Now, let's get to business. What all was sent in this past week? Now, I read through this real quick, so I'll do my best to give you at least a good idea of what to look for next for each individual problem. Randy Bauer Socks, watching your Rancher 420 air filter change. What does it mean if there's fuel in the bottom of the air filter housing? That typically doesn't happen on a fuel injection unit. On your carbureted units, when your float bowl would hang up, it would fill up the air box. But on a fuel injection machine, about the only way I can think of for that to happen is for the fuel injector itself to be just locked open. And that's a very rare occurrence for them to lock in that on position. Plus, you have to have the ignition on for it to activate the fuel pump to pump fuel through there. So that's just extremely odd, but that's the only way I can think of that you've got fuel inside the airbox on a fuel injected engine like that. Alejandro Martinez. I have a Honda Rancher. There's absolutely no power going to the dash or lights. It has a good battery. Any idea what could be wrong? Alejandro, you just need to go back to the basics. Are you sure you've got a good battery? It's got a good voltage on it, something north of 12.5 volts. Check your connections. After that, go to your fuses. Make sure you've got no blown fuses anywhere. After that, you're going to have to start just picking apart section by section till you make it up to your start switch. Do you have power at the start switch? Because when you turn it on, that's when everything should light up. So it is probably A, blown fuse, or B, possibly a bad switch, or could be the wire in between. But you start picking it apart. Don't get overwhelmed by saying there's just too much to look at. Just start picking it apart, and then you'll find your answer. Now, do you have to have a voltmeter to do this? No, but it makes it a little bit easier. But you can do it with just an inexpensive test light, finding voltage at each point. Jake 2020, I have an 03 Suzuki GSX-R 1000. It will turn over but not fire up. 2 days ago, I was riding and the dash cut out. And then about 2 minutes later, the bike dies. Please help me out. I wish that we could just go back and forth when I get these questions, because I have a couple of questions. When you say it'll turn over, is it doing that with enthusiasm, or is it just barely turning it over? Because what it sounds like to me is your charging system has failed and it's running out of power, because usually your dash will go out, and then after a little bit longer, the battery starts to degrade. Then it can't even operate the ECU, and then it's going to cut out. But it would still try to turn over, because most of your electronics, they want to see north of 12 volts just to operate. And even though the bike will turn over with as little as 11.5, although not that enthusiastically. So I would bet you have some type of charging issue going on. That's easy to diagnose. Put your meter on the battery, see what it's reading, and then go from there. Put in a new battery, start it up. If it's sitting there at 12.4, and that's what it was when it was static, and it's just starting to drop, it's going to be your charging system, and more than likely your regulator rectifier. But boy, we've done a bunch of videos on those. So if you need help diagnosing that, go check out our YouTube channel, and I can walk you through it. Sean Boyette. Hey guys, I have a 2013 YFC 450. Went for a day of riding, and an hour into it, it started sputtering mid-throttle and started running a little rough. Is this a carb and fuel issue, or is there something I'm overlooking? I would say probably so. The first place I would look on this is potentially bad fuel in there, because it sounds to me like you went and filled it up, went out to go riding, and then it was good for a while, and then it started picking up whatever contaminants was in the fuel. Could be some type of just water, and that happens to all of us in those cans, or whatever jugs you're using. if you don't close those things off all the way, especially when it gets a little cold, condensation builds up in the tank and drops right to the bottom, and then you put it into the machine itself. So my bet at this point is probably bad fuel. Philip Whitehurst, how can I get more power out of a 2008 Grizzly 700? The usual suspects. Different companies make different exhaust systems for it. Now, the head pipe, it actually flows pretty well, but the place where it gets restricted is back on the muffler side. If you're wanting to wake it up or tune it a little bit more, maybe go with a tuner just for the ECU. And you're not replacing the ECU. DynoJet makes one that's basically a piggyback, and it's kind of lying to the ECU as far as what information is being sent. So it'll dump in more fuel, because you're going to need more fuel if you're moving more air. And that's what that exhaust replacement is going to accomplish. All right, only one more of the ones that were sent in this week. Excuse my voice. I've been fighting a cold all week, all the damn times for me not to feel well. But hey, it is what it is. Crichton Off-Road. Hey, John, I have an 04 CRF 450R. Seems to have bonkers amounts of compression, and I have to use the decompression lever on hot or cold. Is there something wrong here? I would think not. I mean, having a bunch of compression, that's typically a really good thing. And it doesn't mean anything's wrong with the machine if you're having to use it if it's hot or cold. It's just relieving some of the compression to make the bike easier to kick over. I get that. Not everybody has the girth that I do to to kick over a machine. So is there anything wrong with it? No, I don't think so at all. All right, kids, let's see what y'all have sent in for me today through Mr. Hank, if anything. All right, looks like we've got a few. Here we go. James Tomato Reviews ask, what is the average recommended bushing or bearing rebuild time? There isn't one that I know of, but one of the pre-ride checks that I do on just about every machine before I'm going to take it out for a long weekend, lift it up, get the tension off of your bearings if you're talking about the suspension and the bushings, and just rock it back, or see if it rocks back and forth or feels loose. If it's moving around or not moving around as it should, well, then it's time to do something about it. Otherwise, leave it alone. But if there are Zerk joints or Zerks at each one of those joints, go ahead and give them a couple of shots just to get fresh grease inside there. Now, I know it makes a bit of a mess because it's going to push out the old stuff, but that's what it's supposed to do. So just go ahead and get it done. That way you'll have a smoother, less noisy ride with well lubricated joints. Kyle Company Entertainment asks, looking for an audio-ready fairing for a 2013 950 Yamaha V-Star. Know where I can get one? Kyle, off the top of my head, no, I don't know, but I know they got to be out there. But Hank, if you want to make a note of that one, or better yet, Kyle, if you would just send me an email on our Ask Partzilla email address, and I'll find one for you. Hopefully it's one that we sell. And if I don't like the one that we sell, I'll point you in the direction of one I think will do the job. I'm a bit of an audio nut as well, so I'll try to steer you in the right direction. So Hank, if you would drop our email address in the chat, that way Kyle can get in touch with me. Stephen New Zealand 1158 asks, "G'day, John." Throwing on an Aussie voice. Why did I do that? YFC 450, normal for the axle carrier to get rather hot while riding. I have jacked up and removed the chain to check for a noise or play, but it seems fine. It's going to get a little warm, but it shouldn't get too hot to the touch. That would tell me that there's either an alignment problem or a lack of grease going on on the bearing itself. But getting too hot, I've never experienced that, especially on Brantley's 450R. But honestly, I'd never checked. Now you've got me curious. Next time he goes out, I may have to take my my heat gun or temp gun to see what's going on with it. Joe Crawford, 8448 asks, I'm looking for a kit that would activate my dome light in my 2024 Polaris Expedition. Well, I know, gosh, after doing the Polaris North Star, they have a kit for everything. And those units are basically really well. I mean, I've got to tout their engineering expertise when it comes to their accessories. That machine is so well laid out as far as the infrastructure that you can connect to. And I know if you need to add a light, they've got a kit to get that accomplished. So go on their website, the Polaris site, and go through build a unit, and you can pick out the accessories, and it will automatically show you any of the other parts that you're going to need based on the unit that you're building. Really, I mean, that's how I was able to pull off doing that North Star without having everything collide, because certain pieces cannot be used with others because there just physically isn't enough room. So go check out the Polaris site, and I'll guarantee you they can guide you to the right harness and light that you want to get installed on your expedition. Two Brothers 112 says, happy Friday, y'all. Well, happy Friday to you. Zoop Zo Milk 6705. I'm starting a new SV Rescue with the carbs off. I can see the valves look a bit crusty. Not as bad as the last one I did. Short of a head job, do you think a fuel additive would suffice? Recommend. I did try this recently, and this was on that 4010 mule that I rescued. It wouldn't want to idle, and it was just trying to choke down. And I'd read on another forum, who knows where, about using a product from Yamaha called Combustion Chamber Cleaner, and it comes in just an aerosol can. And they said you want to rev it up to about half its RPMs to whatever range it is, and spray it right in the intake and let it just suck it straight in. I mean, because obviously it can burn it. And I couldn't believe it. It actually cleaned up. I don't know if it was the throttle body or the valve or something further in there. It could have been the valves themselves. But it blew out a bunch of black smoke and then cleared up. Now, I know everybody, yeah, that sounds like a mechanic in a can, John. Well, this actually worked, and it did not hurt the machine. So I would say give that a try. It's made by Yamaha under their Yama Lube brand, and it's called Combustion Chamber Cleaner. Give it a shot. It wasn't that expensive. And hey, it doesn't work, then pull it apart and go through a complete valve job on the head. All right. R. Camingo asks, how long can you let or live long non-ethanol fuel in the tank on a fuel-injected ATV? I hate admitting this, but I've left the same fuel in Brantley's 450 without changing it, and it actually started for a little over 3 years, but it didn't like it. I mean, it would start up and idle, but you could smell that old fuel even after it was burned. I mean, had it turned into any type of goo? Fortunately, no, because for the most part, a fuel-injected machine is more of a closed loop system or closed system when it comes to fuel. Not like a carburetor where, oh gosh, it's got vents everywhere, and air and fuel, they turn into varnish really quick because it evaporates, or most of it does. But personally, 3 years, but don't do that to yourself. His machine is still sitting over there, but now it's got a fresh battery on a battery tender, but nothing's in the fuel tank and or in the fuel system at all. I've cleaned it all out because I think it's going to still be a little while before he and Dean are ready to hit the trails, but hopefully not too long. Alex 1990-2000 asks, I have a 2016 Honda Rancher DCT 420 FA, and it'll turn over. Sounds weak during turnover. I checked the stator, everything's good. Check the rectifier, numbers look good. What could it be? What voltage do you have? And then I would want to know what type of, how old is your battery? I mean, it may be sending, it may wake up the machine, but it may not have the health that it needs to really send the volt or the current that it needs to turn over that starter with any type of authority. So you're going to need to dig a little bit further, but do go ahead and do the basics. I mean, pull the positive and negatives off, make sure those connections are clean, get those reconnected and tight, and then start doing your measurements. I mean, volt-ohm meters are not that expensive, and they can give you a world of information, especially when you've got you're measuring the static, and it should be around 12.4, maybe a little bit more. When you hit the start, how far down is it dropping? Is it dropping less than 10? It's going to be an indication that it doesn't have the muscle to really start it up. And who says that the battery is bad? I mean, it could be your starter starting to drag, but at least it'll give you the next thing to look at. Now, if you've got access to a battery tester, not many of us do, but there are a lot of battery places that will at least test yours for free. I mean, AutoZone may do it for you. Just take it out of the machine, run it up there, have them do it at whatever amp hour rating is in there. I think that's a 12 amp hour, and just see if it's viable. All right. What else we got here? Belloeat Grom 7850 ask. I have a 2020 Honda Grom, and when starting cold, the RPM kicks down after warm-up. Okay. It idles down, then runs rough, and then quit. Oh, okay. It doesn't do it all the time, but frequently. It's been a while since I worked on our Grom, and I'm trying to remember if there is an adjustment on the side of the throttle body that would where you set your idle. For some reason, I don't think there is. So in that case, what I think may be throwing it off is the throttle position sensor. It thinks it's at a certain degree open, and it's probably all the way closed. So look for those two things. See if there is an adjustment screw for your throttle plate, and if not, you may need to go through and adjust your throttle position switch or sensor. Let's see what else we got here. Y'all are sending me some good ones today, making it fly by. Just like that, 30 minutes is gone. Mr. Wick 4875 asks, is there a way or a kit to rebuild the steering damper on a GSX-R 600 2019? I've never opened up one of the dampers before. I assume yours just has no resistance to it anymore. Mr. Wick, I don't have an answer for you. I've never heard of anybody pulling one apart, but the ones I've seen, they found me. If you can hear the police. I don't know of a way to rebuild one, but hopefully they're not that expensive. Tell you what, send me an email on our Ask Partzilla. I'll see if we can help you out for Christmas. How's that go? How do you like that? So send me an email. Let me see if I can maybe find one over in our inventory, and we'll hook you up on another one instead of you having to rebuild one. That'll be my Christmas gift to y'all for the year. A1G482 asks, I have a 1974 GT80. I'm looking for a good replacement carburetor that will fit properly. Thanks. Oh boy. When you're getting into these older machines, and I have another project that I'm going to be working on. It was not my exact motorcycle, but it's the same year, make, and model, a 1974 Honda XL70. And do they make a carburetor for it? No. Fortunately, I still have the one that's, it still has its. Is it going to be rebuildable? I don't know yet, but I'm going to do everything I can to bring that one back, which leads me to the machine that's sitting next to it. And I hate admitting this, but over a certain period of time, we had that, when I say we, my son and I had it taken apart in between here and Marietta, Georgia, and we lost the carburetor. And trying to find one for a 73 CT90 was also almost impossible. So I went with an aftermarket, probably made in China. There were a bunch of them to choose from. a lot of garbage and some that are okay. My advice is find a forum, either just on the on Google or on Facebook. I tend to lean toward the Facebook groups more than anything, and see what the others have done when they've lost their carburetors or they were unrebuildable. Sometimes that's your only choice, is to go aftermarket. It's just the way it is. But that was the way I decided to go on my 73 CT90. The DeLorean 6258 asks, I have an 09 KFX 450R ATV and the taillight assembly is broken at the screw points. Okay. But oh boy, but replacements are over 1,200. Is there any other options? I was wondering if a Honda 450R taillight would fit. I'm not going to know that one off the top of my head, but I am willing to do the research. So if you would go ahead and send me an email as well, let me see what I can come up with, and we'll try to get you set up with another taillight for your machine. All right, Hank is telling me this is the last one, the last one that you sent me anyway. Jonathan Ramirez 9492 asks, I have a question. I recently changed my radiator and did 2 flushes of distilled water and rode my quad, and the coolant was looking more black. Also noticed that my water pump was leaking. Any ideas? Well, you were heading in the right direction, but this is one of the pitfalls of fleshing out a radiator system. Yeah, there may be pieces in there that are just encased in old, broken down radiator fluid, and it's almost like a scale in there. But that scale also may have been sealing up a water pump that is going to fail. So it's going to force you to go a little bit further and go ahead and replace that pump. Now, did you do anything wrong? No. But you're going to come out way ahead in the long run, because I guarantee if you had that much scale around your water pump, one, it was not being efficient, because you're probably going to find that same scale around the fins of the impeller itself, as well as everywhere else that it could find a nook or cranny. I mean, think of it as like your heart getting stopped up, which I had mine checked. I'm good. And I do have a heart. But that calcium almost buildup inside of a cooling system is completely detrimental, and it's eventually going to bring your system down. But you're being proactive. It's just wanting you to go a little bit further. Well, all right, guys. I guess that is going to wrap it up for us for today, and possibly for the year, because speaking of health stuff, I have a procedure that I've got to go through that's coming up Thursday. And after that, I'm off for the rest of the year. So more than likely, this will be our last live for the year. And then we'll do a cannonball straight into 2026 by announcing whoever is going to be the winner of our Polaris North Star giveaway. So just head over to our website. It's going to be on the landing page. Go enter to win. Once again, this is the first bonus code of the year, and it's John T. That's worth 500 points. And remember, it doesn't cost you anything to enter, and you can enter once a day until December 30. All right, guys. Well, this was a great one to finish up on potentially. Everybody have a great holiday season, no matter what you celebrate, whether it be Christmas or Hanukkah or Festivus or Kwanzaa or whatever it is. Just treat each other with respect and have a great season. Y'all take care, and I'll probably see you in 2026. Later.